Hi everyone, Miss Kara here. I wanted to share a little video with you about the 3-hour work cycle and why it is important. As you know, in our classrooms, primary classrooms and elementary classrooms, we have a protected 3-hour work period in the morning. I'm going to leave our adolescent community out of this conversation for now. We will come back to them. But Maria Montessori recognized that adolescent students have greater skills to transition from work period to something else and then back to work period. So for now, we'll just concentrate on ages 3 through 12. And I hope as you finish watching this video that you'll have a good idea of why the 3-hour work period is important. So this is not something that we came up with at Joyful Scholars. This is something that Dr. Montessori observed, and the concept became a pillar of Montessori education. So I would say the more traditional Montessori schools will honor this 3-hour work period and give parents and the community information on why it's important. So there are really 4 goals of the 3-hour work cycle. One, we hope for a deep sense of concentration, age level appropriate, of course. So for a 3-year-old, the depth of concentration is going to look different than an 11 or 12-year-old, obviously. But what we're looking for is time for the student to become thoroughly engaged with their work, to the point where they might not even realize what's going on around them because they are so deeply concentrated on a skill, on a concept, on a project, so on and so forth. As you know, if we can foster that concentration, which is a skill, in the classroom, that really transfers to all areas of life, which is important. We also should see a satisfaction with the completion of work. So I just recently picked up a slight obsession with succulents, and something that I struggle with in my own life is actually finishing projects. And that has a lot to do with distractions and obligations and not having a chunk of time to work on something. But I actually did. I bought some succulents and had some cuttings at my house, and I completed a project. Here it is. I thought I'd show you 5 or 6 plants in this little bowl, and I think I did all the things correct, so they'll grow and thrive in here. But it took me quite a while to do the research, what kind of soil, how often to water this, picking out the plants, figuring out how to arrange them, and actually getting them in the bowl. Honestly, it probably took me over an hour to do this, but I'm so proud of this little bowl of succulents. It's that satisfaction of completing work that we desire for our students, and we know that intrinsic motivation of, hey, I did something really cool and I'm proud of myself, is incredibly important for their childhood experience, but above and beyond. I don't know many bosses that kind of check in on an hourly basis and pat their employees on the back if they've done a good job in that hour. So we have to build in this intrinsic motivation of, hey, I accomplished something and I'm proud of myself. We expect that to come out of a 3-hour work cycle on a consistent basis, of course. We're also expecting that students will be engaged in the environment and with the materials. So materials, but manipulatives, often parents just think of this as beads in the Montessori classroom, but really our materials go beyond beads. And we're happy to show you all the materials if you have time and energy for that. But we're expecting that students will be drawn to the materials during this 3-hour work cycle. At the younger years, this looks like a little bit of wandering. We expect that students will be checking out the shelves, trying to decide what to work on next. And if we see that happen for too long, of course, we help guide or give some choices, or ask that they'll join us for a presentation to kind of get them interested in one direction. But some, like amount or level of wandering and choosing their own work is expected. Think of it, if you love libraries like I do, think of it of like wandering through the shelves of a library trying to decide which book to read. It's kind of a joyful thing, and finding that material you've been looking for or that book you've been looking for is pretty exciting, and we expect our students to be excited about that as well in a 3-hour work cycle. Finally, there is nothing like watching a Montessori student master a skill using a work. It's just the most beautiful thing, and we get to see it all the time, honestly. So watching a student choose a work, complete the task, and put the work away with a sense of accomplishment and pride fills up our love buckets. It's just very cool to see. And if it's cool for us to see, how it must feel to our students to have that excitement about their work and have time to complete it. So there's something here in the 3-hour work cycle that needs to be mentioned. And I was a public school teacher, and this is just the way it has to be in most classrooms. We had a reading time, a math period, a group snack break, that we had, I don't know, probably, it was like a novel read aloud, and then we had a 15-minute recess, and then we came back and we worked on science, and this was all before lunchtime. My students were like ping pong balls trying to keep up with the schedule that was set out for me and for my students, kind of from a top-down look. None of us could really even focus on going very deep into any concept or skill because we were on the clock to move on to something else just like that. In a 3-hour work cycle, on some days, some of our students will work on one skill for an hour or 2 hours for our older students. The cool thing is they'll accomplish so much in that 2 hours that they're ready to move on to something else in the final hour or the next day. So just like as adults, some of us do really, really well with big chunks of time. Remember my bowl of succulents? That we need that to feel accomplished and successful. And some of us have the attention span to kind of ping pong all over and be able to pick up right where we left off when we come back to that skill. Great, to all his own, but we have the 3-hour work period that works for both of those personalities and all the personalities in between. So I hope that gives you a little sneak peek into the 3-hour work cycle and why it's important. We'd always love to have you come in and observe if it works for you and your child and the guide, depending on the day, if you'd like to get a little sneak peek into the 3-hour work cycle. Additionally, we are always happy to answer questions, and honestly, if you get us started on this topic, we might not be able to stop. So know that we have tons more information and resources that you can read or videos that you can watch. We're pretty passionate about it and glad to share a little tidbit with you today. So thanks for listening, and I look forward to sharing more about the Montessori experience with you another time.